I truly feel happy in my heart. Believing that, I welcomed today. However, my high school dropout daughter-in-law, I'll make sure she's properly trained. My mother-in-law wore a smug expression. Why do I have to be told such things on a day of celebration like this? As I bit my lip and held back tears, I felt a gentle warmth on my shoulders. My name is Erin McCarthy. I'll be 30 years old this year.
Erin, I'll leave today's delivery slip here.
Yes, thank you for your hard work, as always. I checked the products while looking at the vendor's delivery slip. My job involves managing everything at a certain supermarket. There's a lot to do every day, like managing inventory, sales, stocking shelves, and taking inventory. I've been working for 15 years already, so my body moves faster than my mind. But having a job and getting a stable salary is reassuring. I'm really grateful to be able to lead a stable life. I finish work on time, go shopping, and then go home. I'm single, but I have a family. A very important family.
Welcome back, sis.
I'm home. How was college today?
It was only in the morning today. I start my part-time job at 8 p.m. I'm hungry. Can you make something, sis?
Tanner, my little brother, says while watching TV. Come on, you're old enough to do it yourself.
All right.
I wonder if he really understands. Thinking about living alone from now on makes me anxious. But it's really the last time I can do something for Tanner. When I think about it, I feel kinda sad. I set about preparing dinner. I'm soon getting married and leaving this house where my brother and I live. I have finally found my happiness, despite everything that has happened to me. Tanner and I are siblings. When I was in the second year of middle school and Tanner was 5, our parents passed away in a car accident. I lost both parents at the same time and I was sad and cried all the time. But Tanner was only 5. Unable to understand the meaning of losing our parents, I remember him saying, Why are mom and dad sleeping? At that moment, I stopped crying, realizing I needed to be strong for my little brother. Relatives hesitated to take us in. Certainly, there are few people who have the capacity to suddenly take in 2 children. However, my mother's sister, Aunt Sally, reached out to us. We were taken care of at our aunt's house and treated with genuine affection like real children. To ensure my younger brother wouldn't feel lonely, I declined hanging out with friends and went straight home. And when I entered the 3rd year of junior high school, I made a certain resolution. Huh? Erin, are you going to get a job? Yeah, I want to work to earn money, especially considering my younger brother's future. But Tanner is still in elementary school, isn't he? You don't need to worry about money, do you? My aunt encouraged me to go to high school, but my determination was firm. With 2 elementary school children at my aunt's house, it must have been far from easy. When I thought about that, I couldn't help but feel that going to high school seemed like a luxury. I understand. If you say so, Erin, then do as you like. But you know, if you ever want to continue your education, just let me know. I'm here for you, just like your mom would have been. Those words from my aunt made me happy. Then, over the next 15 years, work became enjoyable and time flew by. Even my brother Tanner is now a respectable college student. Come to think of it, when my brother graduated from junior high school...
Hey, Erin, I'm thinking about getting a job too.
What do you want to do, Tanner?
Well, I want to go to school, but I can't let you work alone, Erin.
If you want to go, then go. And don't worry about money. Did I really say that and let him continue his education? And when it was time for college...
I'll manage somehow by getting a scholarship,
he said, and I responded. It's okay. I told him that he did not need to worry about it.
What's this large sum of money?
It's the money our parents left for us. Use this to go to college.
But what about you?
He must feel guilty for continuing his education up to high school and college while I only graduated from middle school and worked. If you live the way you like, that's fine by me. My biggest wish was to let Tanner do what he wanted. While preparing dinner, I spoke to Tanner. Hey, about tomorrow.
What is it? Are you going on a date with Harrison?
Wedding planning. I'll be late coming back. I'm getting married soon. I couldn't wait to celebrate the new beginning with my beloved. It was so exciting. After dinner, Tanner went to his part-time job and I was mesmerized while looking at brochures of the venue. I wonder what it'll be like. I wish I could have shown it to Mom and Dad. As I flipped through the pages, my phone rang and I answered it. Hello, Harrison.
Erin, is it okay to stick to the plan for tomorrow at 10?
Yes, no problem at all.
Alright, I'll pick you up at your place then.
I'll be waiting. See you tomorrow. Harrison, my fiancé, always cares for me so kindly. We met through a friend's introduction. Although we met almost like a blind date, surprisingly we hit it off right away. Things clicked into place, and our courtship began smoothly. And on my 30th birthday,
will you marry me?
I happily accepted the joyful proposal. To think such a kind and wonderful person would become my husband. I couldn't express the happiness of that moment in words. And I was so happy that I felt like jumping up right there. After deciding to register our marriage after the wedding, we steadily proceeded with the preparations. But I had one worry. It was Harrison's mother, and from my point of view, my mother-in-law. When we went to greet her for the wedding, my mother-in-law was kind to me. Oh, I heard you've been taking care of your younger sibling in place of your parents. That's commendable. Erin, I'm touched. Let's get along from now on. She has such a favorable attitude. I've raised Harrison all by myself too, so I understand your feelings. You must have had a tough time. Please, think of me as a real mother. I thought my mother-in-law was someone who would support me. I was so relieved to have such a kind mother-in-law, but... By the way, Erin, which university did you graduate from? Huh? University? As I was bewildered.
Erin has been working since junior high.
Harrison spoke up for me. Oh, only junior high? I could see my mother-in-law's expression darken for a moment.
My love for Erin has nothing to do with her education. I love Erin for who she is.
Harrison said, smiling at me, but my mother-in-law's expression remained gloomy. Harrison has graduated from a prestigious university and his wife is a high school dropout.
Mom, what are you saying?
Being a high school dropout in this day and age is embarrassing. It's something you can't show your face to society with. My mother-in-law's words pierced my heart. Despite the circumstances, it was my own choice to only finish junior high school. Until now, I had never felt guilt or embarrassment about it. But when my mother-in-law says such things, my mind went blank. Am I really such a shameful presence that I can't even introduce myself to others?
Mom, please stop. Erin, I'm sorry.
Harrison apologized to me, but all I could do was smile wryly. My mother-in-law had been watching me with a suspicious gaze the whole time. Marriage means becoming family with your mother-in-law as well. But in this state, I wondered if we could really get along as a family. Erin, can't you even understand this? A daughter who hasn't even finished high school is no good after all. I disliked my mother-in-law who constantly made such remarks. One day, something happened. I heard your parents died in a car accident, Erin. This is what my mother-in-law said to me when Harrison left his seat. I wondered why she brought it up out of the blue, but I responded normally. Yes, that's correct. People who suddenly die in accidents must have done terribly wicked things in their past lives. They probably accumulated a lot of bad karma. Ugh, how awful. Speaking ill of my parents like that is just too much. I was so shocked that I couldn't say anything and my mother-in-law kept on talking incessantly. You've had a string of misfortunes too, haven't you? That's also influenced by your actions in past lives. So, do your best to honor your parents. Otherwise, you'll fall back into misfortune again. I instinctively covered my ears at my mother-in-law's loud, laughing voice. It's impossible. I can't become family with such a person. Tears welled up in my eyes as I thought so. If marriage is this painful, maybe. Unsettling thoughts crossed my mind, but the wedding is already looming next week. I can't just cancel everything now. Harrison noticed me crying and confronted his own mother.
Mom, did you say something again?
What? I just told the truth.
What did you say?
I stepped in to mediate when two of them were arguing and decided to just go home for the day. Harrison listened to me and apologized sincerely, almost as if he was bowing down to apologize.
Aaron, I'm really sorry.
It's okay, Harrison, it's not your fault. Honestly, I might be at my limit.
But I want to be with you, Aaron.
I don't want to be apart from you either, Harrison. We approached our wedding day believing in the strong bond between the two of us. The wedding day itself was filled with a hectic schedule. Right after the wedding ceremony, we quickly changed into and waited. During that time, there was no time to catch our breath with photo shoots and greeting relatives. But it was still heartwarming to be congratulated by so many people saying, "Congratulations, you look beautiful." Despite everything, I'm glad we made it to this day. While taking a short break in the family waiting room and chatting lightly with relatives, my mother-in-law suddenly spoke up. "May I have a moment, please?" My mother-in-law shouts. Everyone turns their gaze to my mother-in-law. "Isn't that Harrison's mother?" Aunt Sally softly nudges me on the ear. "Yeah, I wonder what's going on." My mother-in-law clears her throat lightly and begins to speak. "Thank you all for attending today's gathering. I truly appreciate it." My mother-in-law behaves as if she's the center of attention. With a sarcastic smile, she continues to speak, addressing me. "While I'm grateful for a day like today, there's one fortunate thing. Erin, my daughter-in-law, didn't come over to greet me properly to pay her respects, as is customary. This is common sense for someone joining the family, isn't it? Isn't it something important? Unfortunately, it seems Erin still lacks that kind of consideration. But please, rest assured. As for Erin, who only finished junior high, I'll make sure to discipline her properly," she says, lowering her head deeply. Did she think applause would happen? When she raised her head, she still had a proud and smug expression. The waiting room fell silent in an instant. I sat there with my strength drained, not knowing what had happened.
Aaron, are you okay?
Harrison rushes over in a panic, but I can't seem to gather my thoughts. To think that on a day of celebration, a joyous occasion, someone could disrupt the atmosphere like this. Can that really be something a parent would do? As I stand there dumbfounded, the aunt beside me gently places her hand on my shoulder and softly breaks. I'm the bride's aunt. Quietly, she began to tell me about my upbringing. My niece lost her parents early and worked desperately, putting herself second for the sake of her brother. I truly cherished such a niece and still regard her as my own daughter. My aunt then glanced sharply at my mother-in-law. I will not allow my precious niece to marry into your family. This marriage never happened. My mother-in-law was left gaping in shock at my aunt's unexpected retaliation. Erin, you have a place to come back to. My aunt pleaded, tears streaming down her face. I too couldn't help but shed tears at her sight, as we embraced each other, quietly shedding tears.
Sis, I want you to be happy. Don't go to a house with such a mean mother-in-law.
My younger brother Tanner offered further support.
What are you saying? How rude.
My mother-in-law finally snapped out of her daze and started to argue back. But Tanner persisted.
Who's being rude here? Can't you distinguish between right and wrong?
He countered with a chillingly cold stare. My mother-in-law fell silent in the face of Tanner's fierce response. In the noisy waiting room, people were only talking bad about my mother-in-law.
Even if it's just bullying, that's unacceptable, isn't it? And on a day of celebration, no less? What are you thinking?
Absolutely, it's beyond embarrassing. My mother-in-law's face turned pale, perhaps realizing the magnitude of her wrongdoing. And to top it off,
Mom, I'm cutting ties with you. What you did is the worst as a human being. I can't forgive you.
Harrison publicly disowned his mother in front of everyone. Truthfully, this decision had already been made in Harrison's heart. He had planned to smoothly get through the wedding and then inform his mother afterward.
What? Cutting ties? What do you mean?
My mother-in-law was wide-eyed and surprised.
It means exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to be listed as part of Aaron's family.
What? Hold on, what are you saying, Harrison?
No matter how many times my mother-in-law called him, Harrison ignored her. The wedding that day went fairly smoothly, but my mother-in-law had a dark expression, almost like at a funeral. And finally, feeling unwell, she left her seat midway and didn't return. I felt truly relieved that my mother-in-law had left. People who didn't know the situation were surprised at the mother of the groom's departure, but the MC and Harrison managed to cover it up somehow so her absence wasn't noticeable. Actually, during the change of attire, I unexpectedly ran into my mother-in-law in the hallway. Mother-in-law, you often talked about what's important as a person, right? What do you think is really important? I'm glad I married Harrison. It helps me not to lose sight of what's important. How about you, mother-in-law? I muttered to myself, wondering if that had any effect. And then, Harrison was officially registered as my spouse. As for my brother Tanner,
Harrison having the same last name as me feels somehow reassuring.
He seemed happy, as if he gained a real brother. Meanwhile, at the wedding, my mother-in-law received criticism from all the relatives for her remarks. Even when we attended family gatherings, she was invited, completely isolated because they were afraid she might cause trouble again. Cut off even by her only son, she truly became lonely and isolated. She spends every day crying in loneliness and sorrow. When neighbors asked if something had happened to my mother-in-law, Harrison and I explained the situation. It's amazing how rumors spread so quickly, even in the neighborhood. There are whispers about our mother-in-law, even among the neighbors. I struggled to understand why she spoke so contemptuously of me in front of so many people. But perhaps, because of that, everyone learned about her maliciousness, which may have been for the best in the end. Since marrying, Harrison has always been kind to me, truly an ideal husband. Every day is filled with happiness, and I'm grateful for our marriage. Living with my brother Tanner, it truly was the best decision. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.